coming to you live via Facebook streaming, via YouTube streaming, and via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming. Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. To go to the core of the mind, you need to go to the core of feeling. If we draw a graph, at the 0, ordinate is sound. Above sound are letters, words, thoughts, and philosophies. Below sound are different layers of feelings. And unless you can get to the core of feeling, you cannot get to the core of the mind. The whole world is filled with sounds. Only the human mind is filled with words. The planets, the stars, their movement is measured in terms of this sound, vibrations. Even a child, newborn baby, cannot use language, instead uses sounds. Really, the whole language developed because of the particular sound that every child is using all over the world. It is out of this sound that letters came, the words formed, an entire philosophy. For example, this I am repeating it once again in order for you to get hang of this, understand this clearly. In any language, the word mother is somehow related with the word, with the letter Ma. Ma is the letter. In Hindi language, Ma is pronounced as it is Ma. In English language, it is used with the letter M. Ma is more profound and deeper than M. It may be matter, it may be mutter, it may be mata, it may be ma, anything, but somehow it is related with the sound ma. It is easier to create the sound ma. In all the language, more or less, child can utter this letter ma most easily. This is the first sound that child speaks. Then the whole structure is based on this very existential sound ma. The child utters ma because it is the first sound which is easy for the child to speak. This is the case anywhere, in any part of the world, at any time. Because of the structure of the throat and body, the letter, the sound ma is the easiest sound. Ma is the easiest sound to utter. And mother, and this is significant, mother is the first person who is meaningful in the life of a child. The child relates to the mother, and because of that, his relationships with the others, the father, the brother, the sister, uncles, aunts, with everyone begins. So the first sound becomes associated with the first person who is meaningful, and from this, and the person who is meaningful in the life of the child is mother. And from this mother, matter, mata, ma, all other words are derived. And when the child for the first time utters the sound ma, he has no linguistic meaning for it, but there is a feeling behind it. And because of that feeling, the word becomes associated with the mother. That feeling is more basic than the sound that the child creates, ma. So this sutra says, first imagine the Sanskrit letters. Any language will do, because Shiva was talking to Parvati, and the language that time that was understood between the two was Sanskrit. You can use English, Latin, Arabic, any language will do. Sanskrit is more significant, except in that Shiva is talking to Parvati in Sanskrit. It is not that Sanskrit is something superior to any other language, although it has more utility. First, feel inside, in your consciousness. Shiva says the honey-filled focus of awareness, filled with letters A, B, C, D, any letters of any language. This can be done, and it is a beautiful exercise. If you want to do it, close your eyes and see your consciousness inside being filled with words. Think of consciousness as an empty blackboard. Then visualize the letters A, B, C, all the letters. Visualize these letters. Visualize these first as letters A. Look for A as you write it. Write it with consciousness and look at it. Then by and by, forget the letter A. Just remember the sound of the letter A. Just this sound. Start with visualization. Because eyes are predominant in us, ears are not so predominant. We see something first. We are, for that matter, eye-oriented. Again, the reason is the same, because eyes help us to survive more than anything else. Our consciousness is 90% hidden in the eyes. Conceive of yourself without eyes and your whole life will be futile, dead. Then only a minor part remains. So first visualize the letter A. And to visualize you need to use your eyes. Through the eyes you are visualizing the letter, inward eyes with eyes closed. See the letters. Letters are more related, the sound is more related to the ears than eyes, because they are sounds. The letter has a form is visible through the eyes, but the sound is audible through the ears. Because we are reading and go on reading, they have become associated with eyes. Basically, they are associated with ears. They are sounds. Start with eyes and then forget the eyes by and by. Then move away from the eyes to the ears, from visualization of the form to the sound. First, imagine them as letters, see them, hear them more subtly as sounds, then most subtle as feelings. When you utter a letter A, and imagine you are addressing it to someone, A, and you do the expression of the hands, A. It is more profound and more subtle. And this is the beautiful exercise. When you see a letter A, what is the feeling? You may not be aware of it. What is the feeling inside you? Whenever you use any sound, what type of feeling comes into existence? A. There is a feeling. We are so feelingless that we simply have forgotten. When we see a sound, what happens inside? You go on using and the sound is even forgotten. You go on seeing it. If I say A, you will see it first in your mind. A will become visible. You will visualize it. When I say A, do not visualize it. Just hear the sound and go to find out what happens in your feeling center. Does nothing happen? A. This letter is spoken with a feeling. A. Shiva says move from letters to the sound. B. Uncover sound through the letters. Remove the form. Focus on the sound. Uncover sound, and then through the sound you can reach to the core of the feelings. Be aware of how you feel. It is said that man has now become very insensitive. He is most insensitive animal on this earth. There was a German poet. He narrates one incident of his childhood. His father was a lover of horses, and he had so many horses in the house. He had a big stable, but he would not allow the child to go to the stable. He was afraid. The child was very small, but when the father was not around, the child would somehow steal into the stable where he had a friend, a horse. Whenever the child will go in, the horse will make a specific sound. The poet has written, then I also started making this sound with the horse, because there was no way of the possibility of language. Then in communication with the horse, for the first time I became aware of the sounds, their beauty and their feelings. You cannot be aware of a man because he is dead. A horse is more alive. He has no language, or no animal has language. He narrated this incident with the horse. You can experience this with a dog, cat, cow, or any other pet that you may have. The horse has pure sound. He is filled with his heart, not with the mind. The sound flows through the heart. So the poet remembers, for the first time I became aware of the beauty of the sound and their meanings. This was not the meaning of words and thoughts, but a meaning filled with feelings. If someone else was there, the horse would not make those sounds. Only in presence of the child, the horse would make this sound. So child could understand that what the horse meant. Do not come in, someone is here already, and your father will be angry, because the horse had this sensitivity. When there was no one, the horse will make this sound differently. Come in. There is no one. So the poet remembers that it was a conspiracy, and he helped me. The horse helped me very much. That horse helped me very much, and when I would go and love the horse, he would move his head in a particular way when he liked it. When he did not like, he will not move the head in that way. This is with all the animals, whether it is birds or animals. When he liked it, then it was a certain things he would express it. When he was not in the mood, he would not move in a particular way. And this poet says it continued for years. I would go and love the horse, and the love was so deep and intense. I never felt any affinity with anyone else as deep as with the horse. Then one day when I was stroking the neck and he was moving and enjoying it ecstatically, suddenly for the first time I became aware of my hand that was stroking. Earlier on he was not aware of this hand. The moment he became aware of his hand, the horse stopped. Now he would not move his neck. And that poet says, for years I tried and tried, but there was no response from the horse. The horse would not reply. Only later on I became aware that because I became aware of my hand and myself, ego came in and the communication broke. In all relationship, the ego is the greatest barrier. Because of the ego, the subtle communication breaks down. I could not recapture again that communion with the horse. What happened? Between the poet and the horse was a feeling communion. The moment the ego comes in, words come, language comes, thoughts come, philosophies come, and everything else, the layers changed completely. Now you are above the sound. Then you are above the sound in the realm of the letters, words, thoughts, philosophies. Earlier on you were below the sound at the realm of the feeling. Those sounds for him earlier were the feelings, and the horse could understand the feeling. Horse will not understand the words. You think when you call your dog, dog understands your words? No, he follows your sound, and with the sound that feelings comes in. Now he could not understand, so the communication broke. The poet tried and tried, but no effort was successful, because even your effort is the effort of your ego. He tried to forget the hand, but he could not forget. How can you forget? It is impossible. And the more you try to forget it, the more you remember. So you cannot forget anything when there is an effort. You can forget only when there is no effort. Effort will simply emphasize the memory more. The poet says, I became fixed with my hand. I could not move that horse. I would go up to my head, and then there was no movement. The energy would not move into the horse, and he became aware of this. How did the horse became aware? If I suddenly start speaking some other language, then the communication is broken. You only understand the language of the words, not the language of the feelings. Between the infant and the mother, it is the language of the feeling. So earlier on, when the words were not formed, the ego has not come in. The communication was through feelings. Feeling was the language of communion between the poet as a child and the horse. And if this language were not known to you, you would suddenly stop, because now language is unknown to you. Thus the horse stopped, because horse only know the language of the feelings, not that of the words. Every child lives with feeling. First comes sound, then those sounds are filled with feelings, then comes words, followed by thoughts, systems, religions and philosophy. When one goes farther and farther away from the center of the feelings. Only this much for this morning. Until we meet again, take care and do have a pleasant